Hello, everyone. It's Brian from Home Painters. I'm absolutely thrilled to bring you our next topic. It's exterior season coming up in the next 2 to 4 weeks. So I want to talk about exterior topics, and this one we'll be talking about exterior vinyl and exterior aluminum siding painting. Okay, the costs involved there. You're also going to learn the process, general process, how much time it takes, and factors that affects the cost in this video. By the way, we've been in business just over 33 years now, painted over 17,000 homes, satisfied so many different clients, and a number of them was doing painting this aluminum siding painting as well as a vinyl siding painting. So I'm really excited to bring you this next topic. Okay, so let's get right into it. We're going to talk about cost first, and I'm going to break it down into three different segments. The first is going to be bungalows. Second's going to be the typical two-story home, like a three-bedroom house in Toronto. And then the third is going to be a bigger 2 to 3 story, four-bedroom, five-bedroom homes. They usually range in the 2,500 to 3,500 square foot. So the first one is bungalows. Generally starts in the 2K to 5K range to paint vinyl or aluminum siding, those types of bungalows homes. Okay. And again, we're going to talk about what affects those costs, but generally it's the amount of prep or how difficult it is to reach them, just because some bungalows are a lot harder to access than others. Although it's not usually too difficult in terms of ladders, some of them are hard to reach in terms of whatever's around the house and difficulty. The second cost involved is going to be a two-story home, which is a typical three-story home. It ranges, I would say, roughly in the 1,500 to 2,000 square foot range. And to paint exterior vinyl or aluminum siding, you're looking 3 to 7K. Okay. The third one I'm going to give you pricing is going to be on the 2 to 3 story home. And usually they range in the 4 to 5 bedroom range, at least four. And the square footages of the house interior is about 2,500 to 3,500 square feet. And that ranges, those jobs range from about 5K, 5,000 to 10,000 or approximately to paint the vinyl and aluminum siding on those homes. Again, this is just general prices, and the reason why, just to give you a ballpark of what you're looking out for in terms of if you're looking to get a budget for that. Sorry, plan a budget for that. Okay, now the process. Usually you'll, depends on if it's been weathered a lot. In many cases, you got to wash it down using a hose or a pressure washer. Again, if you're using a pressure washer, keep it fairly wide so that the nozzle isn't very concentrated, because if it is, you'll actually damage and dent the siding or even ruin the vinyl as well. In worst case scenarios, like if it's really grimed down and there's a lot of algae on it or some kind of whatever, be mold or anything like that, then you gotta scrub it down with TSP. Those are in the more few and far between situations, but sometimes scrubbing down manually with the TSP is necessary. And then usually what's common is having to caulk the cracks, fill the holes if there's any damages or any screws missing, and then of course painting after that. And usually there's a paint and primer involved. Um, in most cases, for example, Sherwin-Williams will use an A100, a flat paint, as well as sometimes people use satin because they want a little more durability, but flat is more common than not. Same thing with aluminum siding, A100 or Duration. And then for Benjamin Moore, we'll use Regal or Aura flat paint as well. Okay, and the time it takes, I would say on average, it depends on how many painters you have on site, but it shouldn't take more than a week in most cases, 2 to 5 days, unless you're dealing with one of those really, really big homes, of course, in which case it could take 1 week or more, but not much more than 1 week, I would say within 2 weeks or less, weather permitting. Weather always slows you down, but yeah, that's the general timeline. I would say a week or less, and if 3,000 square foot plus, then of course. Oh, there we go. Okay, we're still going. Now, the factors that affects the cost, and final thing, is usually the amount of prep. For example, if it's a lot of um, manual washing down, or there's excessive amount of caulking or prep or filling of the cracks, as well as if there's a lot of holes missing, that affects the cost as well. Um, Urgency speed. So if you need it done quickly, then usually it's a lot more difficult to navigate for the painting company. So that will make an effect as well. The size of the job makes a big difference as well. For example, if you just want the front of the house, it's going to be more expensive per unit than if you do the whole house. And the reason why, because every company has like a minimum job, and so if it's part of something, it's usually going to get a better price per unit. The other thing that makes this is probably the biggest factor is the difficulty, and what I mean by that is how high it is, how hard it is to reach those areas, and that makes a huge difference because sometimes if it's a 2 or 3 story house and it requires cherry pickers, special ladders, then it requires a lot more setup, and the cost alone, let's say to rent a cherry picker is $850, as much as $1,500 a week. So that will make a huge difference on the cost of your job in general. And the final amount is the method of payment. Check, e-transfers is always cheaper than going credit card, just because credit cards charge merchant fees of anywhere from 2 to 4%. If they do take credit cards, in our case, we don't actually charge the client any extra. We don't want to penalize them for using credit cards. So, but in some cases they do. So, method of payment, you might want to ask about that. Hopefully this was really helpful and you learned a lot. Like I said, I do this once a month and love talking about your needs. So if you have any questions, email us directly at sales@homepainterstoronto.com or by call 416-494-9095, and we'll be happy to take care of your needs, get your free estimate. Like I said, this is just ranges I gave you, and the reason why, because I really need to see it, either come out and see it or see it through pictures so I can get a better gauge of what the costs are involved. Okay. We'd love to hear from you. So give us a call or email anytime, and we'd love to take care of you. And hopefully this was useful for you. Have a great day.